Hello everybody and welcome back to another video from the Investor Diary. Today we have two main objectives to talk about. One is mapping or looking at the market structure mapping of the GBPUSD, and the other one is talking about the difference in broker prices versus TradingView prices, especially for new traders or beginners. And Actually, I found that that difference, I need to adjust my prices to that. The experienced traders, I think they know that and they do such adjustment. I just realized that, and we will talk about this at the end of this video in the last 5 minutes of this video. So let's move to the GBP USD market structure and why we have chosen this pair to talk about today. This pair has many time frames on this pair. They have two structures happening at the same time, and this is what is interesting about this pair. So let's start from the 3 month. We have a break of structure here, therefore the highest point of that break of structure or of that retracement becomes the high point of the range. And then the last pullback before the lowest low is the inducement level. And we need that inducement level to be hit to be able to identify this as an official swing low. Otherwise, if this inducement was not hit, therefore, if the price went and broke it, it will not be called a break of structure in or according to what I have been taught. I have been repeating this in many videos that all what I'm explaining in this diary for two objectives is that one, for me to understand that I understand and to instill the information better in my head. And the other one is if anybody is in the same phase as I am, maybe the information that I'm giving in my diary might be useful and they can use it. So I'm getting 90% of what I'm saying is something that I'm learning either online or in books, but actually, most of what I'm talking about in terms of market structure, I learned from someone on YouTube who's I should really give the credit, but because I post this video on different platforms and I record this video on a platform as well. Many of these platforms do not allow such reference. Anyway, let's move. So the inducement, and I said this because I want you to know where is this information coming from? Why is the inducement the pullback before the lowest low? Who decided that? And all what I'm trying to say is that I didn't decide that. Okay, I learned that. So but let's say the pullback was in this area. Um, what will solve this? We cannot take this because we have this order flow. What is an order flow? And it is one of the points of interest that we look at in our market structure and for our positions, for our opportunities, is that the opposing move before continuing in the main move. So the main move here is we are going down. So this is the opposing move. So this is the order flow here. This is an order flow here. Okay. And this is an order flow here. And this is an order flow here. But be careful. This order flow here is within this order flow here. So this is engulfed in this. So again, if a pullback or an order flow happened in this area, that means it is engulfed in this order flow. This is why we keep the inducement at this level. Okay, so let's move on. So this is the area of our interest. This move, the price is moving towards hitting the inducement to officially call this the low of the range on the 3 month. So if this is the area of our interest, that means on the weekly, this is where we're interested in. So where we're interested in, we have a break of structure again, and this is again the high of the week. So the inducement of the 3 month is the high of the week, the high of the range of the week. So going down, we need now the low of the week. This is the inducement, and this is the low of the week identified. Now the price is going up. So the structure is bearish. Okay. But now the internal structure here is going upward, either for one of the POIs of the weekly, or to go with the 3 month, take the inducement, or even move higher to take other points of interest above the inducement and then move down, if it will move down. Okay, if it didn't, that means we will have a bullish structure. But if on this 1 week, the weekly chart, if those were not respected and the 3 month was the inducement was hit, that means the structure on the weekly changed character to become bullish on a 3 month structure that is bearish. Now, internally, on an internal structure, we are dealing with the weekly structure as a bullish structure until it reaches one of these points, and we will see what kind of reaction, if any, will happen, and we will deal with it as such. So this is the weekly. We move it here, and we move lower to the 4 month. Previously, I used to use the daily. Now I don't, but this happened while I was using the daily. And this is a very important point of interest. But still, which is the area that we're interested in? We're interested in this area here. And if we look at the line on the right, now this is the area. And look at the left, this is the beginning of the area of our interest. Okay, so this low is our interest. But where is the high here? Because we have a change of character here, this becomes the high of the range shared with the daily high of the range. So now we have a bearish structure on the 4 hour, but we have a bullish structure reacting from a daily POI, meaning that the daily structure is bullish. Okay, and the inducement, when we have a reaction, the inducement becomes a change, hitting the inducement becomes a change of character. Therefore, this low is not only a low of the main structure of the 4 hour time frame, but also it is the low of the reaction as well. Okay, and the reaction is not from the order flow nor from the order block. It came from the sweeping the engineering liquidity, okay, of the daily, of course. And then the price moved up, the inducement kept moving up until it reached this level. Okay, it wasn't hit, it kept on moving, or it was actually hit here. But there is one important rule, and a beautiful one, I might add. When we use the Fibonacci here, this inducement was hit, but the retracement did not even touch the 3.8. We wanted we want the retracement to touch the 0.5, but if it touched the 382, that's fine, only on a condition that on a higher time frame this would be a pullback. Okay, these are the conditions. So we need to move now, because this is not a retracement that we can deal with. So the inducement moves to the higher point. Okay, so where did it break? Where this high was broken? It was broken here. Therefore, the inducement is here. Again, it was hit and it was broken again here, which means it didn't We will not have the half Fibonacci hit. Therefore, we will have the inducement here. And then because of the move, the inducement will be moving upward. Actually, just a minute. This was hit here. And this is the one, okay. Actually, this is new. The inducement is here. This is the inducement. Why? Because this high was hit here without the retracement. We need the lowest point as an inducement to start from. Now, if this broke this high, we will move the inducement here. Okay? See, in repetition, beautiful things happen. And in my journal, I always start with the three. I keep on writing what is happening in the 3 month. Every day, I start with the 6 month or the 3 month, depending on what is the case of the pair. And I start analyzing in my journal, starting with that same time frame every time. And every time there is something new. So this is the low. The low is 34.47.6, 47.6. Okay, so this is the inducement, and this stays the high, the IDM high. Yes, this stays the high. It wasn't hit, so we don't have a high reaction. I want to see what's happening here. This is the high of the 15 as well. Okay, let's keep it for now because this is not hit yet. Okay, and therefore we don't have a high, but once we move, we'll put this here, we'll go to the 15, and we will correct that. We will have this as the high of the 15, and it magically happened. Okay, so we don't have a high for the reaction. We have a high of the main structure of the 4 hour. This is it. And we have the points of interest from where it could react, going from where it could react and move down. But this is something that we will wait for. Now, our point of interest to see that we are interested in this area now. Where is this area on the 15? This is the area. It's here. Okay, now from here we can see that the 15, this is a weak point of interest. Why weak? Because it happened before the change of character. This is the change of character, the bullish change of character. Okay, so this is the low, but here was a weak, but it made a very strong reaction from a weak one. But we don't consider weak ones, we consider the ones before the break of structure. Let me show you an example of how we do the mapping. So this is the change of character, the bearish, okay? We don't do anything before. We do it, we don't do anything after it, we do it before, okay? And therefore, here on the bullish, we can't have, we need to have this here, for example, to get the POIs here, okay? So because it's reversed, bearish and bullish, okay? So now we can, if this was here, we cannot have, we can only have, we cannot have any of these if this was here, because with this kind of, with this move, that means it's going to be after. Okay, so we need it before. I hope it's understood. Anyway, if it is not understood, then maybe with more videos things will be clearer. Okay, so this is the 15. Now let's move. So we have a reaction here, and therefore we are interested in this area now that it's going down, which means on an internal structure we need to draw it. Okay, so, or we move from the 15, we move to the 1 minute here. And this is what exactly what I did. I took advantage of this and started making the structure. Okay, and those two were made yesterday. And this is our discussion now comes to. So I took this is the inducement, which becomes, as we said, it becomes a change of character. This is the low. This is the high, and this is my entry. Okay, I take entries not based on when I make an execution. I do not take POI. I put the POIs only until the 15-minute time frame. But then on the 1 minute where it's execution, I deal with Fibonacci 786. Okay, but on higher time frames, I either use the Fibonacci 786 for execution, or use the reaction of the points of interest on a lower time frame. So I have this. So this is the high. There is a retracement. It went all this way. It caught it, as you can see. It hit the entry price, but on my broker platform, the demo account, it didn't. Why? Because if you see the difference here, we have one price here, which is the selling price. Okay. And the difference here is 1 to 2 pippets. Okay, now I saw a 3 pipette. But my broker has 1 pip. Okay, the pipette is, see that very small number? That's the pipette, okay? Because the pip is the fourth number on these, on the GBP USD or the USD CAD or the Euro USD. This is the pip, okay? And here we can see it's the same pip, but the pipette is the difference, which is 1, 2, 3 maximum, the 3 pipettes maximum. On my platform, on the my broker's platform, it's 1 plus 1.1, 1.3, 1.4. I mean 1 pip plus 4 pipettes or 3 pipettes. Okay, that's the difference. Therefore, it didn't catch this, and I lost this winning trade. And here, it didn't close here. The trading view closed here. Mine closed here. This is where my position was closed. So if this didn't happen, it would have been a loss in my on my platform, but it could have just gone up, which it did actually here. I mean, if we take it, it did go up. But anyway, even on TradingView, it was closed on SL. So this is what I wanted to talk about. There are a few adjustments that I want to make on my trading, which is I will only, well, here I took an actual reaction, and I want to connect all of them. The second one is to make adjustment to the pips. I'm going to study how I'm going to, if I'm buying, I will put the price a little bit above and the SL a little bit below, and vice versa when I'm selling. So be careful from that. If you haven't been on a platform yet, be careful and take that consideration, and make use of it. I hope this video was as useful to you as it was useful to me. and we changed a few stuff together. Thank you very much and looking forward to seeing you in another video. Bye bye.